Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to be doing a first year application walkthrough for the Universities of Wisconsin. My name is Wesley. I serve as an outreach specialist for the Go Wisconsin team. So yes, today I'm going to walk us through the first year application, talk us through the homepage, the landing page of the Universities of Wisconsin Admissions Pathway portal, and hopefully clear up any questions that you have about that process. So you can access our first year application on apply.wisconsin.edu. That's where the application is going to live. And so I'm going to go ahead and get my screen switched here so I can start that walkthrough. And you may notice that there's been some updates to our landing page there. I promise all the information is the same. It's just got a little bit of a facelift. So I'm bringing that into screen here now. So this is our Universities of Wisconsin Admissions Pathway portal. One thing that I'll note is that I am utilizing our developer side of things. So the URL is the only thing that's a little different, but that's so I can submit applications and it doesn't mess with any of our UW campuses there. So this is our homepage. A lot of the similar information. We got our FAQs on this page. One thing that you're going to notice is our contact information is spread everywhere throughout the UW admissions pathway portal. That's because our biggest thing is assisting students in completion of that, but also answering questions about that transition and anything else they have regarding the Universities of Wisconsin. We do have a chat bot as well in the bottom right corner. So if students have any questions that they don't want to go to a live agent, they can start with our chat bot. If that chat bot doesn't know the answer, they'll forward that on to us and we can have those communications. We have a Direct Admit Wisconsin tab up top. That's going to bring us to the Direct Admit Wisconsin part of the Universities of Wisconsin Admissions Pathway portal. We have a How to Apply tab. So we get a lot of different types of students at the Universities of Wisconsin, from transfer students, online students, international students. This page is going to kind of highlight the different types of students we have, and how that process kind of works for those different students. If we go back to that homepage, the Find Your Term tool is a great tool for students to utilize if they're looking for a specific term. So they're able to type what type of student they are and also what campus they're looking for, and it's going to let us know when that term is open and what terms are coming soon and what terms are closed. So for this example, UW Eau Claire for first year students, the summer term, which we would be through, is currently closed, but what's going to open is spring 2027, and that fall as well. If we go back to that home page, we have a Find Your Program tool. This is very similar to the previous Find Your Program tool, but what I like about this is we have the opportunity to either search the program by name or you can do it by career cluster. And this is going to search through all 13 UW campuses and find the best program for you. So let's say you're looking specifically for online programs. You're able to filter that and you're going to see all the online programs listed here. And they're going to be at various UW campuses. You can switch this to graduate level courses, whatever it may be. So that's a great tool that we have as well. And then I mentioned it before, but again, our contact information is going to be spread everywhere. And it's really helpful for our students to utilize that because we're there to assist them through this transition. A couple different ways that we can get started. Students can create an account where they're just going to enter their email, basic information, opt into the phone if not, and then they will get the verification email sent to that email. Sometimes it does go into junk and spam, so we just encourage students, if they're having trouble finding that, they can give us a call. Otherwise, if students have an account, they can log into their account. So some students may have an account because let's say they applied to college credit courses through a UW campus in the past. Maybe they took a early college credit program, a CAP course, whatever it may be, where they've had to complete the application before. They would already have an account, which is going to save all their information. So they just log back into that account. And when they continue on for a traditional application, it's going to save all of that. So it'll help them because they won't have to enter all of that basic information that they've already entered. So we are officially in. We're in my dashboard. Now, the universities of Wisconsin, we have Direct Admit Wisconsin, as well as the traditional application housed in one spot. So if I was a Direct Admit Wisconsin student, this is the other tab I'd be able to toggle through. I would link it to my high school email address, and all my Direct Admit offers would be there. But today we're working through that traditional application, so we're not going to worry too much about Direct Admit. We're going to talk a little bit more about that traditional application. I want to talk briefly about the left-hand navigation because it is very similar to the homepage, although there are some differences. One thing would be the account information. So this is the only point on the Universities of Wisconsin admissions pathway portal where students can change their first name, last name, email, and or phone number. So when we're completing the application, you'll notice that those boxes are grayed out, which means you'll have to back out of that and go to your account information to make some of those changes. Minnesota Reciprocity Tuition Reciprocity Application is a new addition to our Universities of Wisconsin Admissions Pathway portal. This is only for Wisconsin students that are applying to Minnesota public colleges. So we have reciprocity that is through our team now. So those students would complete this application. This is not for those Wisconsin students applying for Wisconsin universities of Wisconsin campuses or for Minnesota students applying for universities of Wisconsin campus. This is only for those Wisconsin students applying to those Minnesota public colleges for that Minnesota reciprocity. Another new tool that we have is our military connected student benefits. This is for any of our military students. They're able to select what type of student they are, what their military status is, and then we're going to connect them with the military personnel or the veteran services on that campus and also show them some of their benefits so that they're able to be connected with the right people. So those are some of the new updates there that we have to our dashboard. We can see we have in progress applications and we have submitted applications. I have a couple in each there. When you do have an in progress one, you'll have a couple actions where you can edit that or you can delete that application. Submitted, you'll be able to view your application and also download those next steps. So we're going to go ahead and start an application so we can do it together. And then I'll show you kind of what it looks like once a student does complete that. Universities of Wisconsin campuses have a variety of application types. We'll start with a few questions just to narrow down what type of student you are, because like I mentioned before, we get lots of different types of students. So we want to make sure that you're applying correctly as the right student. Are you applying as a degree-seeking student? Typically, the students that do attend the Universities of Wisconsin are looking for either that associate's degree, bachelor's degree, master's degree, or that doctorate degree. Now, there are some instances if you're a high school special student that's just going to take a course. Maybe you're a transfer student that's only going to take one course at this university. Maybe you're an adult auditor student. There are some instances where students would not be a degree-seeking student, but for my example, I'm taking this like I am a senior in high school and I plan to attend a UW campus next fall, fall 2027. So for that instance, my plan is to earn a bachelor's degree. I would be a degree-seeking student. Are you a U.S. citizen? You're going to answer that accordingly. Have you graduated from high school? So this question does trip up a lot of our seniors because they're like, well, technically I haven't graduated yet, but by the time I start college in the fall of 2027, I will have graduated. We want you to answer this exactly how it is right now. So if I'm a senior in high school, I have not graduated high school yet. So I'm going to say no. That's going to indicate me as a first year applicant. That sounds all good to me. We'll be able to continue through. Now what we're going to do is we're going to select where do you want to go to school. So you can pick one campus for now. When we complete the application, you'll see how easy it is to apply to an additional campus because we'll save all that information. So we make it pretty easy to apply to multiple campuses there. So let's see, we'll go to UW Parkside. Now, what you'll notice, there are some of these campuses that have drop-down menus. That's going to indicate the 2-year branch campuses at that school. So we see a couple different options here. So you want to make sure if it does have a drop-down that you're selecting the right option for you. So we're going to do UW Parkside. We're going to continue on. So now it's saying, please select a major. We have a couple different ways that we can select a major. We can search the program. We can search the career cluster. We can select undecided on the top. It's all alphabetical, so we can scroll through and find something that we like. Let's say I'm going to study graphic design. So I click graphic design, it automatically brings me down to the bottom. We'll able to continue through. When would you like to start school? We'll see the available terms open here. Um, Now, typically when students do this after August 1, they will see that fall 2027 term. For this example, I'm just going to do the fall 2026, but again, once it's past August 1st, that's when we'll see that fall 2026 term be available here. This next message here is asking if you'd like to copy from recent. Would you like to copy your information from the most recent application into this new application? So as you saw from my homepage, I did have some in-progress applications. I also had some submitted applications. So because of that instance, like I mentioned before, we're able to pull that information from that so we can save you a little bit of time. Now, if this was my first time coming to the Universities of Wisconsin Admissions Pathway portal, and this was my first application, I wouldn't get this page. Excuse me. So I am going to select yes here. We're still going to see every box, but this way I don't have to enter all the basic information. You'll be able to see it with me there. So we're going to say yes, use my previous information. And now we are officially in the traditional application. If we look on the left side navigation, we'll see the green check marks indicating what we have completed, and the red circles there are showing what's not completed. So we still have that progress bar. We're 24% of the way complete. We selected the following: the campus, the course study, the semester, things like that. Now we just have to work our way through the questions. So personal information, we'll go through and do some personal information. Now, because I copied from my recent application, some of this is already completed. I mentioned that your name is grayed out. Remember, I said you can only change that on the home page under account information. So we can't make any changes to that right here. But we're just going to ask for your name. Has your last name changed? Date of birth, social security, city of birth, state of birth. We do ask this first gen question on the bottom. So have either of your parents and or guardians um, graduated from a four-year college university or they have that type of degree. We want students to answer this accordingly because our campuses are going to provide specific resources for our first-gen students. So we want to make sure that you're answering that accordingly, and then we'll save and continue. Working our way through additional information, family background, military service question, ethnicity, and race. It's important to note that this is only used for reporting purposes. It's not for admissions related review processes. So our campuses are not making admissions decisions based on this part of the application, just for reporting. So you're going to answer that accordingly. We do have a financial needs-based waiver question here. So this question is asking, do you believe you're eligible for a waived application fee and or additional assistance because of your financial need or other circumstances? Providing this information may waive your application fee and or offer you additional assistance on campus. If a student answers yes to this, we do have them indicate what qualifies for them. Maybe they qualify for an ACT or an SAT fee waiver. Maybe they qualify for free reduced lunch. Maybe they're a ward of the state. Whatever it may be, we want you to indicate that. And this will waive all of the application fees associated with our UW campuses. Most of our UW campuses do not have an application fee besides UW-Madison at $80, UW-La Crosse and UW-Eau Claire both at $25. And then we have an additional support question. So this is for independent students. We want to know that information. So if the student is an emancipated minor or came from a foster care or ward of the court, we want to know that information so our campuses can provide the support to that student. So you want to click yes or no, whatever applies to you, and then we're going to save and continue. Working our way through contact information, just going to provide a phone number, address, making sure that the address above is correct. And note that the address that is listed here is what we will send the admit packet to as well. So when you are admitted to those campuses, it's important that your address is correct because that's where that information will be sent to. And then we have our parent and guardian section. So the next section will ask you information about your parents or guardians. Here are some key points to know about this section. This section is completely optional, so students do not need to provide their parent or guardian information. You have the opportunity to skip this section. You don't need to enter all of your parents and or guardians. You can do just one. And just note that this may be utilized as an emergency contact or even as a contact for our admissions offices. So sometimes if they're struggling calling to get a hold of the student, they may utilize this to get a hold of that parent. So as you can see here, I did add a parent here. I added my mother. It's very easy to add a parent, just going to do the name, relationship to the student, phone number. That's asking if the address is the same as the student. If it is, we'll continue on. Once we have the parent information, we move into the residency portion of the application. The next section will ask you questions to determine if you qualify for Wisconsin resident tuition under state law. The information collected in the following sections is only used to determine your tuition rate. Learn more qualifying for Wisconsin residency. So we have more on what qualifies for Wisconsin residency if you want to click there. But if you believe that you do qualify for in-state tuition, you're going to want to answer yes. If you do answer yes, we have a couple sections that appear here because we need to take that residency typically from that parent. We have questions related to that parent. So you see these couple sections here. If we go to review parent or guardian, this is the one point of the traditional application where it may be beneficial to have a parent and or a guardian complete with the student. So please select the parent and or guardian who best qualifies you for Wisconsin resident tuition rate. If neither parent resides in Wisconsin, please list the parent whose information you're most familiar with. So you're going to select the parent that you have added from previous. That was my mother. And then we have a couple residency questions for that parent. Is your parent a U.S. citizen? Has your parent physically resided full-time in Wisconsin for the past 12 months? Where is your parent employed? Has your parent filed a Wisconsin resident income tax return for the most recent tax year? You're going to answer all of that accordingly. And then you can see that that section has been completed. And now we are able to save and continue. And just like that, we're working our way through. We're 52% of the way complete, and we are in the academic background portion of the traditional application. So in the traditional application, we're going to want to list all of the high schools that we've attended. So in this section, you'll need to supply the following pieces of information about all of your high school/secondary schools attended. So we need all those schools. In my instance, my example, I just added my one school there. So I was able to search it. It came up. If the school does not come up, you're able to just type in your high school and list the country and the city there, but mine did come up, so I have that listed. I have my anticipated graduation date as of next June. And then we do have the opportunity here to list when we attended the school, when we plan to graduate. And we also have the opportunity here to provide our high school transcript. So we can upload that unofficial high school transcript. Typically, you can get this from your SIS or working with your high school counselor. If you don't send it here, that's totally okay. Just know that those campuses that you apply to, so in this instance, UW Parkside, would be reaching out to me saying, hey, before we review your application, we need your transcript. I always think it's easiest if you just upload your transcript right here. Rather than having to do it later. So that's an option for you. But if you don't, then it will say no for this transcript portion, which is still okay. You're able to continue. Again, we want to list all the high schools we attended, not just the one we graduated from. So if you started your high school career somewhere else, you want to make sure that you add that high school. Once we have all of our high schools there, we're able to save and continue. Next portion is the high school secondary courses. So please list the courses you'll be taking your senior year. So we're going to have your transcript, right? So when we're doing that review of your application, we're going to have your transcript, whether you send it to us later or you upload it here. That transcript is going to show all of the courses you've completed in the past. So freshman, sophomore, junior year. Now, sometimes the transcript doesn't show your in progress courses. So those are the courses you're taking the first half of your senior year and the second half of your senior year. Now, the admissions offices, we still want to know what those courses are. So you have a couple different ways of entering that information. You can manually enter it, like I did here, or you can upload a class schedule, which I think is a little bit more popular and easier as well as going into your SIS, whatever it is, Infinite Campus, Blackboard, whatever you have at your school. Screenshotting your entire class schedule. Maybe you're going to screenshot your first semester and your second semester, and then you upload that here. That way, our admissions offices know, hey, although they might not have all their math credits as of now as a junior, you can see their senior year, they're taking that additional math class. Now, if you are choosing to manually upload your courses, you're just going to type the course in, type the number of credits, and save that course there. So we have it. You want to do this for all of your courses, even if they're college credit courses. If you're taking them at a college, you still want to list all of that here, and you want to make sure all those courses are listed. Once we're confident with that, maybe we uploaded our class schedule, maybe we manually entered it, whatever it may be, we're ready to continue. Now we're working our way through the higher education check portion. It's important for your potential campus to know if you're taking or have previously taken college courses. Please select below if you are currently taking a college course in high school, you took at least one course at a college level while in high school that you could request a transcript for, or you're currently a college student. So we want to know, have you taken college courses? Now, there's a there's a kind of a fine line here because we know there's a lot of high school courses that give you college credit, right? AP classes, Project Lead the Way, IB classes, PSEO, whatever it may be through your high school. We're not looking for those courses because those will be reflected on your high school transcript. We want in this portion, we want to know any classes you're taking through a college or a university. We want to know about those. So if you have, we want you to answer accordingly. So in my example, I have taken college credit courses or I have taken college classes. So we're going to say yes, then we'll save and continue. Now, because you indicated, yes, I took college courses, we need to know, well, where did you take that college? In my previous examples, I've used UW Oshkosh, but all we have to do is we're just going to search the college, search the city. If we don't find it, we're able to manually enter it, but we're going to say, yes, I took a CAP course at UW Oshkosh. And then we'll save and continue. So I have a Spanish class here. I was going to edit it so it doesn't say IB. So we took Spanish 101. It was 4 credits at UW Oshkosh. If I had multiple courses that I took at UW Oshkosh, we want to make sure that we list all of those there. Maybe I took courses at UW Oshkosh, but also at Madison Area Technical College. I'd want to add that college and add all the courses with that as well. So you want to make sure that you have all of those courses selected and added here. Now you don't need to manually add them. You can also upload the class schedule, whether that's your college schedule. You can do that as well, or you can manually enter whatever's easiest there. But just know our UW campuses are going to want to know this information. So it is important to list that there. And then we have a test score option. So the universities of Wisconsin currently do not require an ACT or SAT score. This applies to undergraduate applicants submitting applications for admission to fall 2026 to summer of 2028. All universities of Wisconsin campuses will review your application and consider you for admission with or without one of these standardized test scores. So you have the option. Do you want us to utilize your test score? Yes or no? A lot of times when students first take the ACT or SAT, they have the option to send it to campuses for free. Typically, it's 3 free campuses. So if you say no on this instance and your test score was already set to that campus, they're going to see that no and they're not going to utilize that test score. So we just want our students to know that campuses do look at this portion. They do see if you are selecting yes or no, you want us to use your score or you don't, and they will be truthful to that as well. It's important to note that some of our UW campuses utilize the ACT or the SAT score for placement testing, also for an additional reasoning for scholarships as well. So although it's not required, I always encourage students to do so, but just know it's not required at that system level. It's not going to make or break it, but it could be considered for maybe a placement test exemption. So you choose what you would like to do. I'm going to say yes, and then we're going to continue along. Now we're cranking through this thing. We're at 86% of the way through. Now we're coming up on the holistic background. So I remember saying earlier, we're doing a holistic review. So we're not just looking for that academic information. We're looking for things outside of the classroom. Are you involved in any sports? Are you the captain of any clubs? Are you volunteering? What are you doing when you're not in school. So that's the information that can be found kind of here as well. And if a UW campus requires an essay, this is the portion where you're going to find that as well, and employment information, things like that. I also want to read this note here about letters of recommendation. A letter of recommendation is not required for admission to a UW campus except for UW-Madison. A single letter from an academic source, such as a teacher, school counselor, or a faculty member, must be submitted to UW-Madison to receive an admissions decision. Letters of recommendation cannot be uploaded into this application. So for most of our campuses, it is optional, but they want that to be sent separately to them directly. UW-Madison has their own separate portal for letters of recommendation, so you do need to utilize that. When you submit your application, you will receive your downloadable next steps. This will highlight any of those letters of recommendation questions you may have. So now activities, we want to list our activities. We'll be able to select the specific activity here. So we're going to type it in. Maybe we were in basketball for all 4 years. Maybe it was we also want to select the level of participation. Was it high, 5 or more hours a week? Did we hold any position, leadership roles, whatever it may be? You want to do that there. And then do you intend to participate in that similar activity in college? If so, we're going to do what we can do to get you connected to the appropriate individuals, or it's just nice to know what interests you as well. So we want to make sure that you answer that too. You want to do this for all of your activities. If you don't have activities, as you saw before, there is a portion that shows up here. It says I have no activities to report. That's totally okay as well. And then we're working our way through work experience. A couple different ways for you to include your work experience. You can upload your resume. Maybe you worked on that in your high school career and you have a nice resume that you can utilize. You can enter that, or you can manually enter your work history. So you can walk us through where you started work, where you're at, where you're going, things like that. We just ask basic informations, employer, city, job title, how long did you work there, things like that. If you don't have any work history, it's totally okay to select that box there, and then we can continue our way. And then we have the essay portion. So it is important to note what campuses require an essay. A lot of our UW campuses are test option or are essay optional, or they don't even have the portion for the essay. So this, we do have the option to write the essay. So it gives us a couple tips up here. We always recommend to students to do their essay in a separate window, a separate Word doc, and then copy it over, just because sometimes you could lose your progress here if you enter it there. Also, you can utilize kind of your spell check tools in your Word doc as well. We always encourage students to have somebody proofread their essay, make sure that we're changing the name of the campus in there, because we know students are going to use the essay for multiple campuses. We just want you to be sure to switch out the name there. This is our universal UW prompt here. Each student is unique. Please tell us about a particular life experience, talent, commitments, and/or interests you'll bring to our campus. So you can enter that essay. If it's essay optional, you won't have to enter that there. So we were able to bypass that, work our way through, and now we're reviewing our application. So we're going through making sure all the information is correct, contact information, parent information, our residency questions, academic background, holistic background. If everything looks good, we are 100% of the way complete. We're able to continue through. So, hey, we're applying to UW Parkside as a first-year student. There is no cost because it is one of our free campuses. So there's no cost there. And then we have a couple things to note. You have completed, but you haven't submitted your application to UW Parkside. You can apply to multiple campuses for the same term. You will have the opportunity to review and update your essay for those new campuses. So I mentioned before how easy it is to apply to multiple campuses. Let's do that in this example. So let's do UW Oshkosh as well. Let's say we're going to study accounting at UW Oshkosh. We got the same term. And now, because we completed everything before, it brings us all the way down to the essay. So it allows us to do the essay portion. It is an optional essay, so we do not have to complete it. We'll save our way there, review, and now, boom, we finished two applications right there. So we're able to apply to UW Oshkosh and UW Parkside. No charge for either of those. We're able to continue. And now it's letting us know, hey, you're ready to submit. Are you sure everything is true? Just to let you know, once you submit, you're not able to make any changes. We have a couple of different pop-ups to make it pretty hard for students to accidentally submit their application. But just know if you do and you're reviewing it afterwards and you see an error, something you need to make a change, you'll have to work directly with that admissions office. We can't reopen an application that's already been submitted, so you'll have to work directly with that team. Do you agree? Then we're going to make you sign it. And then we're able to submit. We even have an additional pop-up. Hey, just so you know, you're about to submit. After submitting this application, you're no longer to make changes. Are you ready to submit your application? If you feel confident in your submission, you're able to go ahead and submit that application. After you submit the application, you're going to get that congratulations window. It's going to walk you through some of your next steps from each campus. You're able to download it. You're able to see what they're looking for in terms of letters of recommendation, college credit, any other resources, admissions contact information, the timeline you can expect to hear your decision by. All of those things can be found in those next steps. Then if we return back to our dashboard and we look under submitted applications, we will see we have our UW Parkside and our UW Oshkosh application right there. So that is a little bit more on the walkthrough on that traditional application. Again, our team is really big on being advocates for students there and assisting through that process. So we have our contact information here. I encourage you, if you have any questions or you just want someone to assist you through that application, please give us a call, shoot us an email. We are available for you. That's what we do. And so I wish you luck in this upcoming admission cycle. And again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to our team. But good luck at applying to a Universities of Wisconsin campus. Thank you very much.